Siman, Kof, Tzadik, Vav, and we're going to take it from the top. We're going to get involved in Zayin Nekiim. In Zayin Nekiim, B'siyata D'Shmaya, the plan is to try to get through, hopefully, Sif, Chveis, Nish, Gimel, and Dalet. We're going to try to not deal too heavily with the sugya, even though I would like to just make a few minor nuances of importance. So firstly, that we're not going to talk about is a hefsek Torah din daraisa or din darabanan. Now, the reason we're not going to talk about it is because this is a large machlekes. It's a large machlekes. Va'oid, it's really more relevant once you see later on. Some of you already started seeing what's the din of a kinuach, what's the din of wearing underwear, the chasam sefer that the Pesach Tshuva quoted, and then when you put all of that together, maybe that somehow could help us. So we have to come back to this. Similar to pills. But no, this is something that we really have to come back to. This is right. Not everyone saw it. Did everyone see about whether it's a bedika or kinuach? No, so not everyone saw it. So the Mir Tashem next year we're gonna talk about that. But the reason why it's important is what happens when we have a woman that refuses to do a hefsek Torah, refuses, not holding there, balas tshuva, etc. Can we allow her to go to the mikvah without a hefsek Torah? If it was a din deraisa, obviously not. If din derabanan, there's more room to be makel. And this is more of a kiruv question, which we're not going to really delve into, but just realize that this is really the sugya. But the real reason why that we have to eventually get there is because even if a woman didn't do a proper hefsek Torah, if she's wearing underwear and she's wiped herself when she went to the bathroom, maybe we could put those things together. Maybe that's a kinuach, and maybe that's a beged samach legufa, and maybe the chasam sefer would then say that blives the hefsek Torah, kolzman, we know she's not bleeding, so that maybe you put all that together and you'd have a hefsek, and therefore she would theoretically be allowed on the highest level to go to the mikvah. But obviously, this is not a normal situation, which normally you need to have bedikas, which is what we're going to get to in a moment. Now, a very fundamental shayla, which is, it's fascinating that it's such a large machlekes achreinim. And this is in Sif Aleph, you do have hefsek Torah. So when do you do the hefsek Torah? Not riyasa yomecha, not any of that. Regular woman, she bled, she waits her 5 days, she now starts her hefsek Torah. So when do you do it? Lechatchila, you do it. Tzamach lebein hashma shois. Next, we're going to get to all this in a moment. Next, lechatchila is the mincha ktana, mincha gedayla, ba'abayker. Fine, good. So she does her hefsek Torah. So what time does she do it?
From mincha l'mayla.
Yeah.
Between that and mincha in
Yeah.
that is lechatchila.
Yeah, we're going to get there. We'll get there in a minute. Achrayim should read, want to pick on. We're going to get there. Exactly how far, what is samach? All the achrayim give it. Is it 15 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? Is it an hour? We'll get there. I want to bring out a different fine nuance. So she does her hefsek, Givaldik. When she does her hefsek an hour before Shkia, does she put on white underwear right away?
Why not?
Why, yeah?
Because you have to check now. That was your hefsek.
Good. So now this is the $1 million question.
Why is it $1 million question?
No.
I
I didn't say the question yet.
Anyway, as opposed to what? Waiting till after the seis?
Yeah.
But at those
Slow. What happens if between her hefsek and seis, she sees a dot of blood?
On her underwear?
On her underwear.
White underwear.
Whatever you want it to be.
Oh.
Let's say it's white and it was pachs making gris.
Pause my Chris?
Let's say.
So who cares?
So who cares? Someone give me a reason to care.
It goes against her hefsek. Her
Ah.
hefsek told me that she stopped bleeding
Ah.
today. And
Ah.
I see that she didn't stop bleeding. Who cares how big it is?
But you stop bleeding.
So wait, which way are you saying? Wait. No, explain. Say more.
It takes away her hefsek. Her
Meaning,
hefsek
let's go deep. You're talking din, and he's talking sugya, which somewhere we have to figure out where these two things meet. Because in din, once it's pachas make a gris, I don't care about it, called tough. But in sugya, what is a hefsek Torah? Being mafsik b'Torah, creating a chazaka at some level, not exactly clear what that level is, that she now is a clean woman. So now, slow, wait, slow. So now the question is, does this say that she doesn't start her Zayin Nekiim. Once she starts her Zayin Nekiim, once she had a hefsek, then you know all the rules. You know the rules that this line called Tzavainim, this line called Levanim, this line called Taliyas. You don't really know all the rules because you can get to Sif Yod, and in Sif Yod it's going to talk about being Toilet during the Zayin Nekiim. The question is this gap time a new area of halacha? That is the question. Now, this is something you could debate ad infinitum, and Lamaisa, the fascinating nikuda is that the Heintige Gedolim are on two completely ends of the world yelling at each other that you missed the boat in Gansen. Mamish. I'm just going to read you some Lashainis, and before we get to Lashainis, the minog is to be makel. The minog is to be makel, I believe. But just to show you what's going on over here. And again, this is part of the fact that this is a completely heintige discussion. Maybe that's a raya. But the question is, which way is it a raya to? And that's exactly what the Gedolim are coming along. So Rosh Shlomo Miller writes in a haskama to a sefer. He's very fond in his haskamas to shtup in a chiddush of his own. He did it in the Oil Sar that we spoke about once. He did it in other Sfar. He writes that Shamati May Hagoyin Rosh Shlomo Miller Shlita. Avbezin Kerla Avrechem Taranto Isha Shasa Efsek Taira. B'loy Machdach. V'koydem Laila Ra'asoi Kesem. Kivin Shehi Yada. She knows. Shezev Vade Migufa. Right? This brings back discussions that we've had so many times. Kuf Begimel discussions and Kuf Sadi discussions. She know it came from her. Av She'ein B'koyach HaKesem Lesser. Doesn't have a koyach to Basar. It's less than Chris. Kimai. Shapazik Chasam Sefer. V'chein B'kubel Bin Mayura. Aval Kan Al Kol Panim. I Evshar Loimar. You can't say that she closed the faucet. Like Rav Nachum Deva was saying. Now let's read the opposite side of the coin. If that's what he's saying. This is how he baskets. No. I can read you more. The Chachani Lamaisa comes along and he says that she has a hechzik, and then b'flei layla she sees matan afilu kasem baifen shemisad dinek samim matan tahar. For example, pachs miki grits oil beged savainim uchadaima harei zeh chesaron becheskes tahira. She doesn't have a cheskes tahira, and then he parenthetically points out. She from lo yisekasem kol makom kol tliya is only a suffix. Aval kan sarach birur al tairas sarach lachshish gam ledachki. So we have to be nervous. Shamein dana kasem ba mei tliya elishu adayin midam vesel ve'ein a hefsek taira oile la nekuda. Doesn't help. And then there's more. Or they ask Rav Chaim Kanievsky has a letter that doesn't help. And again, very very heintig to the point that the Sefer Ezer L'Shulchan, which is a contemporary Sefer, and he writes, Sha'alti yoiser me'eser rabbanim. I ask more than 10 rabbanim, u'baiskim, ma'oir chashuvim, ma'daita v'shela zeh. Interesting, he doesn't list any of their names. U'beineyam, you know who amongst them was Beis B'chavri Sfarim, chashuvim ma'oir al-chas Niddah. So gishmak. V'kulam, pe echad amru li, sheladaitom pashil akal b'zeh. It's pashil to be mekel. V'amru li, it's a heintige sefer, but he's saying that he asked the ganze Welt. V'amr li is called sefer called Ezer L'Shulchan. Shel me'olam lo shamu acheres v'ga'oinim b'dar acher. They never heard of such a thing. Shem landu atzlam el-chas Niddah v'shimshu atzlam b'halaches ilu me'olam lo yizkru lem sheish b'zeh izem makom lahachmer. They don't even understand the makom lahachmer. V'chein nir sheshav efshali lahafetz l'rabim taimi v'nimuki. Fine, good. Now one more quote I want to read is. There's a ton, but it's one more I want to read just because it's Geshmak. Zayin Nekiim of David Potash. I think he's if I have the right one, I think he's the brother. He's a Koil in Eretz, I think. Anyways, he writes as follows. I saw a Chiddush, Beinin Stiras Hefsek Taira, Adirias Kesel Neshik Ezcham. V'masa Mata Shabinechem. Omertavei Hitmicha Migdali Yisrael Shlita. I'm standing here in bewilderment. They all missed the ganze Titanic. It's a Gemara. And I'm going to explain to you the Gemara. Says Mavur in the Gemara need Dafn Beis Beis. Kshurasa Beis Am Ritzufim Risa Mamish. Shein l'cha mayim yas pasuach yosem mizu. Afal pikein imrosei kesem b'yoyim shlishi. Einer kam raglayim l'davar loimer devadi zavi. We don't say zizado. Elishu safik. But calls again. He gets involved in this. He has a raya. What I wanted to bring out is it's a fascinating shayla, and l'chayra, the underpinnings of the shayla are: does she have to wear white or not? Does she have to wear white or not? He holds it to me. He's makel. No, l'chayra, that's going to be the same nekuda. Whether we're really going to care what's happening over here. Do you say that she had her hechsek, she had her cheskes taira? Yeah.
Let's say she did her hefsek in the morning, whether she should have or how, and now the rest of the day, should she be wearing white or not?
Correct.
Let's say she was wearing color and
Good.
still saw blood. You wouldn't have this whole problem?
No, you would, but you see with what?
This whole problem.
Of course. Now, but the chayr lafi the machmirim, they'd be more noita to say she should be wearing white because they care more about what's going on here. Mekilim not. Does anyone know what's the minhag? What's the meaning on this shayla? What do women do? No one knows. No one knows.
They wear white.
They wear white when they do the hafsik. So I'll tell you what's funny thing is. Good. So I don't think anything is. Again, I don't have. I don't think I looked at it. Can someone get it from the closet if it's there? I remember looking and they're not. I think if I remember correctly, what they all say is that. Let's just take 1 minute and look at it. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Welcome.
Zayin Nekiim. Here. Washing before Hefsek Taira. Good. Performing the Hefsek Taira. Meichdachuk. Good. Zayin Nekiim. White garments. During the Torah duration of Zayin Nekiim. Nikuda. Nothing. Performing the Hefsek Taira. Finished. While anytime after Mincha Ketana is L'chatchila, within a half hour is preferable. If she's not able to, she can do Mincha Ketana. It should be as close to Shkia as possible. Don't wait for the last minute. Last minute delay, you're going to miss Shkia. Gets very, gives you a lot of eitzes over here. Has to be before Shkia. If it's after Shkia, it's not valid. And you have to wait again. Finished. And that's it. He doesn't. So I think what goes on. So I think what goes on is they teach the woman, you do a hefsek and you put in your white underwear, because like you said, normally we're teaching, which we're going to get to in a minute, the lechatchila is to do the hefsek samuch lebein hashmashes. Now the lechatchila also, now can I explain to you why this was never a shayla? Because the world of lechatchila, you're supposed to do that, then you're supposed to put a meichdachuk for the duration of bein hashmashes, and then you start your Zayin Nekiim with your white, with your levanim, with your white. So be'etzem, there's nothing to even contemplate. The shayla is now if someone says I'm going to do it earlier, should she put on white? I don't really have a good answer. I would like to know. I couldn't really find any literature on it, which I just found very, very interesting, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, so now that was a little bit akdamadik. Well, that doesn't really make a difference, because if you're wearing a mayich, then the whole point of a mayich, which we're going to get to in a moment, is to make sure nothing's coming out of her. So, for all she wants, she can wear whatever she wants at that point. It's after that we're officially discussing. So now, what time is this samach lebein hashmashes? Right? The Machaber in Sefal says, "B'dikazu tiyat samach lebein hashmashes." We'll get involved in the sugya. First of all, stam, just for anyone who didn't understand what we were bringing out in the test, is the hefsek taira counted towards the Zayin Nekiim? The answer is what? No. Why? Where do we learn it from? The kusim. No, we learn it from the kusim that they did it wrong. Very good. That's what the Gemara says. Ata kikusai amru raiv l'shmaitza lav kikusai amru. And the Paiskim all that day doesn't count. The kusim messed it up, and that is the makar that the day of the hefsek taira does not count towards Zayin Nekiim. Why we don't say miksa sayim kikulai is a nice shayla nachreinim, which we'll leave for the moment. So what is samach? The rest of the sugya, in meaning the three shitas, Tanakam, Rav Yudin, the Chachamim, or the two shitas, machlekes Rishayim, whether there are two shitas or three shitas, whether the Chachamim Basrai are explaining the Tanakam or not, is machlekes Rashi versus Taisus or Rush. They blame it on. We'll call it the Rush. We'll call it Taisus. Actually, it's probably more accurate. But we'll get there in a moment. But the first thing is B'dika Shmi Samach Ben Hashmasha Sevalf. What is samach? What is samach? So this is So the Badia Shulchan classically says samach means as close as possible. As close as possible. We just read over here. The El Sara pointed out. Don't go too close. That's just an 8 to taiva because a woman says, as close as possible. Okay, Shkia is at 5 o'clock. Okay, she waits till 4:58, and then the baby screams, and then she does B'dika 5:01. And now we're in a serious shayla. So use your brain. That's all the El Sara introduced to this. What is samach? So every shita is out there. There are some who say a half hour. Within a half hour. And by the way, just to explain to you what's the sugya, in all of halacha we find this word samach. Samach lemincha, samach lesuda, and the word samach in different places has different meanings. So that's really what we're trying to figure out. What is this word samach? That's where the half hour comes from. Many places in halacha we find it to mean a half hour. The Ben Ish Chai says that. We saw the Al Sara says that. Aruch HaShulchan says within chatzi shah, oy shah.
Isn't it like, this is not from my trouble.
Yeah.
Not even from
That's also one of the times. That's also one of the times. No. So slow again. A lot of the shayla is do we shtelsu gans halacha or not, or does the word samach mean samach? Okay, so that's an hour. Or Chashochan or Rav Yashiv Shlomo Zalman said similarly. Shlomo Zalman also says that within an hour, like the Aruch HaShulchan, he says same lashon chatzi shah oy shah. Again, we're just trying to figure out what is the most lechatchila. How can you get into that top bracket? The Chachani says that you know what samach means? He means like Rav Yehuda, which is mina mincha ulamayla. Mina mincha ulamayla. Everyone knows that there's 2 minchas. Can you pull up a calendar, please? Please, just the zmanim for today, just to help us. It'll help us everyone out. So Shkia today is. Shkia, sunset.
7:07 and 54 seconds.
7:07. Great. Chatzos is?
Chatzos is midday, 1:03 and 51 seconds.
Good. So Chatzos is 1:03. Good. Now give me Mincha Ketana, Mincha Gedayla.
Earliest mincha is 1:34 and 11 seconds. Very close.
And that's Mincha Gedayla. Big mistake everyone makes. Mincha Ketana. It's not on. You have to click for more zmanim. Okay, Seder. Lemaisa, we're talking about what time? Probably about 4 o'clock. Baruch 4 o'clock sounds right.
4:03.
So just to give you just in your brain, it's easier to hold it in your brain. So Shkia, we said is what? Is about 7. Let's use about 7. So
5:22.
5:22 is Mincha Ketana?
No.
Okay, Seder, 2 hours. No, I don't know if it's too late. I don't know. Chayr, they're right. I don't know. I'm not a Zmanim guy, so I'm going to go. Who? This is my Zmanim?
Yeah, and no, this is
Stam-
Zmanim.
Okay, Chayr, they're right. Okay, let me say that. I can't imagine they messed it up. But the point of the story is that Shkia is about 7. So we're discussing whether it's has to do summer or winter. By the way, that's the reason. We're at the very beginning of the summer. That's why it could be messed up. We're at the very beginning of the summer. Give us look 2 months from now, and it could be you're more right because we're at the very beginning of the clock change. But either way, Shkia is about 7. So the Lechatchil is going to either be 6:30 or 6 o'clock, 6:30. The Chachani is extending it more down to about 5 o'clock. And he learns. He goes very signidik. He says Samach lemincha means Samach leshkia means like Rav Yehuda, which is mincha ketana. That's what the Chachani says. And then after here, after mincha ketana, there is a sheet that says maybe mincha gedayla. Sheet is rishonim, which is much earlier. So what do you say?
Is anyone talking about the Yevon?
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Right now we're just first handling what's lichatchila. So lichatchila again, Rav Flam, this is what you were asking before, is samach lebein hashmashais. And then next is going to be mincha ketana, then it's going to be mincha gedayla, and then we're going to get now, which is what you want to know, is we're going to get the shacharis. Then after shacharis, we have to figure out, is shacharis always work? Then we're going to get, what about the night before, which I know a lot of the Olam were asking, what's the status of the night before? Okay, is it the same thing as shacharis? Good, we need a raya for that, very good. And then, what about to do a hefsek Torah today and start my Zayin Nekiim on Thursday? Meaning, we're discussing the hefsek Torah when it's supposed to be.
What's the time now?
Good. Because so, this said yes and not. So we have to go in order. Shulchan Aruch taught us that you do hefsek Torah and then you start counting mimachara. Shulchan Aruch says mimacharas Tascha livdoi, tascha limnoi Zayin Nekiim, right?
Put
So
on white, put on white right away after today.
So let's one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So again, no, Shulchan Aruch doesn't say that.
No, but also says 3 or 4 days, if not even, meaning you do have Satire, and then 3 or 4 days later you could sure start counting. And then even if you didn't do a B'dika right after.
So in Sif, that's what we're getting to. Sif Aleph teaches us you have to do a B'dika and you start counting the next day. Yeah? That's Sif Aleph. That's Sif Aleph. So let's get there right now. Just want to see a little. Why can't I have a normal Shulchan Aruch over here? I know we're talking about a Sifei. Sifei says, Badka atza b'yom shapaskim liros u'matza temeya. U'badka l'achar shleisha arba yamim u'matza tahira. So your b'cheskes temeya ad shetifsik b'tahira. La'ila meinas veres ad shetivdik im paska. Vaz mayna l'machrasli. Fakir.
So what's the next thing? Isn't there another?
Call, but he can say it. No.
Doesn't say even if you didn't check right away, check 3 or 4 days later?
It says if you're tamei, then 3 days later you're tar, so then you start counting the next day. No? We'll get there in a minute. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Let's wait 1 minute to get there. So first thing is, what is the story with checking in the morning? So we all know that the Ramah says, b'diavad it works. The Ramah in Sif Aleph says, b'diavad, you check in the morning, it works. You know, let's jump to something a little interesting to break up the just all the details. What if you checked in the morning to see if you're ready to check in the afternoon? Meaning, classical case, it's day 5, and she wants to know, Lamai says, my body ready? Is my body ready? So she wakes in the morning, she does a b'dika. It's clean. She says, okay, gavaldik. Before Shkia, I'm going to do a b'dika. And what happens? She forgets. Can you rely upon the b'dika that she did b'shachris, which was a quote-unquote check? Lamalo. New, someone bring a raya. A raya is something that you've seen.
Wait, later on she did a b'dika and it was bad?
She didn't do a b'dika later. She did one in the morning, but not as b'dika. She did one in the morning for what reason? To know, is she ready to start her b'dikas? And then she forgot the rest of the day. I'm saying, why not?
What does it even mean?
Well, she should do unnecessary b'dikas.
What's your question?
Do a B'dika. Well, why
Why
should
should she do
she
unnecessary
forget?
Again.
No,
She
but
again.
She checked to see if she.
Yeah.
It wasn't her to start.
Again. I don't. Everyone's getting. I don't. Everyone's getting so uptight over bubble gum, as they say. It's a normal case. She wakes up in the morning and she says, right? She wants to know. She set a reminder for 5 o'clock today to do a b'dika. Yeah, of course. By the way, Agav, this is what they're all taught to do. They're all taught that if you're ever not sure if you're going to get it later, do it. So they're taught one nuance difference. This woman was a chacham. They're taught if you're going to be at work later, you don't know if you're going to be able to do it in the morning. And then you'll do it in the afternoon. That's something else. So this woman wasn't sure. Very classical. Many women, it takes her, for example, it takes 6 days to get clean or 7 days to get clean. So she wants to know, am I holding there or not? So she does b'dika. Is there a raya? The shayla is there a raya? Is there a raya? So Rav Forsheim had a beautiful raya from our Pischei Tshuva. From our Pischei Tshuva. What?
Whether she knows or not that she stopped?
Did you see? You guys didn't see the Pischei Tshuva yet? I just realized that. So therefore, I am going to wait. Good?
The shayla is does she need das to start? The shayla is do you need das to start?
No.
What's the shayla?
You're saying that the evidence is good.
Yeah.
You're saying why would it not be good?
Yeah, when does das change the B'dika if you're clean or not? That's what you're saying,
Right. Like you need das that has to be have the power.
Listen,
No,
Lamaisa.
maybe I'm right.
Yeah.
Maybe when she did it, she took her mind off of it that it wasn't for the hefsek, so maybe she wasn't careful to actually check it so well. And
So-
the woman who told her.
Good. So I'll tell you like this. I don't know why they quote Rav Israel Arbach as saying it doesn't work. They don't have a reason. They say Rav Israel said in this case, you're not able to do it. That's what he says. He doesn't give a reason. Forsheimer has a nice ride from the Pischei Tshuva and Sif Yud, which Eilam didn't learn. I just realized that. So that was the only reason why I was saying this, because it was Gishmak that you saw the Pischei Tshuva, but now it's not Gishmak anymore. Because over there, in Sif Kut and Yud, there's a fascinating case that a woman checks herself to know if she could go to shul. Because is she allowed to go to shul? Because we learned that you're not allowed to go to shul when you're bleeding. So says the Pischei Tshuva Sif Katan Yod Bisha Shabbat Ka'atzmo Leilchel Beis HaKnesses. Oh. Ayin Rechuvas Chasam Sefer. Al Davar Shisha Badi Atzal Little Beis Knesset. Ubiyom Pesach is Tahira of Sikha with Safra. Pesach Shal Shiyam Mot Kasev Yishlam Al Litlis. Im Nemer the Pesach Shal Shiyam Lot to the New Kasev Mon Nechshav V'Miyam Shabbat Kalei Beis Knesset. Kfar Holchu Bezen Nimushes. Baal Avodah Zegar Shuni Siman Ayin the Mekel. V'Semach Sadik Daito LaHachmir. So they say Daito LaHachmir of the Me. Pirish Rashi V'Tzitz Reish Nidim of Kidah of Kidah. Then at the end he comes along and he says. Laman Maharam Lublin Davka B'dikas Tikkun Chazal. That's the line. Aval B'dika Acheres Loi De'ena Midaktekes Yafa. Like you were saying. Mevia Mishal Melech Barakim Mishkan Moshe Dindalin Mashmek Sas Ksemach Tzedek Eliyesh Leimer Hasel Matayr Shiny. So this is the Marmakim. It's the Marmakim. Lemaisa, a woman shouldn't do this. Pashas we would be Mekel. But now when you learn that Pesach Tshuva, you'll first Shem is Mekel Lemaisa. But again, that's always the way. But Lemaisa, she calls up on Monday morning. She calls but she calls up on Monday morning and says, "Yesterday I did this." What's the answer? That's what he says. But again, I didn't bring it down for the Psak Shabbai. That's not something that you necessarily whatever. I brought it down more for the Raya from that Pesach Tshuva. Now, when you see that Pesach Tshuva, B'siyat D'Shemaya, you'll enjoy it a little bit more. So, how early can you do the B'dika? So, Rama again, in Saval said, B'diavad, you could do it in the morning. Again, we're talking about a regular case. We're not talking about a case of Rasa Yemechad or whatnot. We'll get there in a moment. What about the night beforehand? So Elam here said, why not? I agree with that assessment. The Mais Aruch HaShulchan says the same thing. He says, Mamish, what Elam said, Nir Dafilu B'dikas Layla Mahani, Dim Loikein, Havleila Virish. Like you're all saying, if there was a reason not, you should have told us that. And he says, Orcha de Milsa Naka, de Belayla Shechaves B'mitok, Shekam Midasa, just a normal case to check in the morning. The question is why? That's Aruch HaShulchan. Lemaisa, I don't know why Rav Avad Yosef is machmir. Avad Yosef is machmir. I don't know why. Again, we don't make up drushes. What do you mean? I understand that's the makar. Nowhere does it say that you can't do it at night. That's number one also. But again, you can't. Nowhere does it. We're talking about Hefsek Torah, but again, you can't. Aruch HaShulchan is right. He's saying no one in the world ever said it doesn't work. So why would it work? We have not everything we're talking about is Hefsek Torah. We have not mentioned one word about anything today aside for Hefsek Torah. Everything in the world. The night before.
Tomorrow she can do Hefsek Torah.
Right. You can do it by Shachris. You can do it the night before.
What's me have to do with you?
Filo Batgatzo Rak Shachris. No. So the Aruch HaShulchan. Now you understand why we're speaking this out. So Aruch HaShulchan is saying. So now you're appreciating his chiddush. I also thought it's a chiddush. I agree. I'm good. Now we're on the same page. The Aruch HaShulchan says Orcha de Milsa Nakat. That the normal thing is you wake up in the morning and you check. But he's saying that there's no reason to say the night not. Well, for the morning works. Why the night before not work? Yeah. Now, Stam, I don't know about day before we get to a moment. Yeah. I don't know if the night before could work if it's within the 5 days. That's a different shayla. Can you do a hefsek during those 5 days that you're not allowed to start your Zayin Nekiim? Meaning, what do you mean? What do you explain? Meaning, what do you say? You want to say is l'chayra? What's saying? Let's say she gets her her period on Sunday. You want to say do your Hefsek Torah on Monday, and then Stam you'll start counting your Zayin Nekiim on Thursday. Good. So we're going to get there in a moment, but that's
she's not bleeding.
Obviously she has to not be bleeding if it's a dirty bediko. Whatever the case is, let's again. So now, so it's got the same Aruch HaShulchan. It's the same whatever. He says, Vaiter, that was in Siv Zayin, Vaiter in Siv Chav Dalid, he says, you have 7 days, lechatchila, from your Hefsek Torah to start your Zayin Nekiim. But B'diavad even more than that. It's just a fascinating thing. Ramosha, in Yardei Chelik Aleph Siman Tzadi Zayin, says, Aval lahefsek b'Torah yachayla teikef, tcholisha rasha lahefsek b'Torah im tirtza. Gam koidem ha'shei shaynis, he says, which is what you just said. Raksha Zayin Nekiim Taschilim Nois Rakach Hayom. That's what Moshe says explicitly. And therefore, if one is able to, that would be the case, which isn't normal, but it would be more normal the night before. That would be a normal case. Again, where does this fit in the totem pole? This is obviously very low down, right? We started off Samach L'bein Hashemashis. Then we went Mincha Kitana. Then we went Mincha Gedayla. Then we went Shachris. And the reason why it's more b'diavad is why? Why is it more b'diavad? So we're going to get to in a moment when we talk about Rasa Yom Echad, is because you want to be as close to Bein Hashemashis. Why do you want to be as close to Bein Hashemashis? Because that gives you the solidification that you have a Yom that is Naki as you begin your Zayin Nekiim. The night before. Before Shkia, excuse me.
Before what Shkia that what? You can start counting.
Yeah, of course.
That's during your Chamisha days also that works. Every regular Hafsik Torah is during the 5 days of Betzim. You can't be
Correct, but it's at the end of it. Very good.
But
Very
LMI,
good.
so you could do Bizman.
Slow. We know that the 5 days is 3 plus 1 plus 1. So I could have very well heard a very normal svar to say that the whole creation was 1 and 1, and that last one we let you do the Hefsek Torah because you start tomorrow. But more than that, Mechates, you could do that. I could have heard someone saying that part of the Gezerah of the 5 days is you do nothing. I can hear both ways. I'm not saying.
That means you'd have to start the next day then.
That the creation of the 5th day is, this day is not one of the Zayin Nekiim. That was the creation of that day. Which means that night you do it and you start the next day. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I could have heard one making a chilik between this day and these days. Or like Ramesha says explicitly, he says, Afilu, what's his lashon? Im tirtze gam koydem hashei shayidus, meaning he's speaking out that nekuda even within the 72 hours. But yeah, I agree. It's just one of those things. If you didn't have a marmakim, it would be something that potentially would be a shayla. Yeah.
7 days. That's what he said.
What do you say?
What do we say about Ramosha and Aruch HaShulchan?
Moshe is talking about doing a b'dika during the 5 days, during your 5 days waiting. We pointed out that Aruch HaShulchan says after you do the hefsek, l'chatzchila, you should start your Zayin Nekiim within 7 days. Now, where exactly got that from, I'm not 100% sure. Could be something we just learned Tam Chimad over there. Could be somehow connected over there. We saw similar musagim, but yeah. What's the latest time to that was in English. What's the latest time to do the Hefsek Torah?
9 minutes.
Rav Asher Weiss said.
9 minutes after.
Oh, that's how Rav Asher Weiss said.
9 minutes. L'chatchila.
Rav Asher Weiss said no. What was his answer?
9 minutes.
Rav Asher Weiss said. You do your bedika by shkia. You repeated it twice. Now, I want to point out. It says some lechevra. I think what he was doing is something very important. Is that even though there is a Ramesha, which l'chayr you should see inside, Yeridei Chelik Dalet Simon Yud Zayin Ois Chavav, one of the more famous Rameshas, in which Ramesha there comes along. It says that in New York, you have 9 minutes after Shkia, based on the calculation of Rabbeinu Tam's Shkia, which, by the way, this is all Ramesha L'Shitase. When Ramesha was told that in New York, they're not holding 72, Ramesha responded, it's impossible that someone's not doing like Rabbeinu Tam, because Shulchan Aruch, the Kol HaPaiskim paskin like Rabbeinu Tam. Says Ramesha, must be, they're doing Rabbeinu Tam. Here in New York, Rabbeinu Tam is 55 minutes. That's what Ramesha's chiddush in Sugya was, that you're doing Rabbeinu Tam. Just Rabbeinu Tam is 55 minutes. Because he couldn't be soivel someone tiny, you're not doing Rabbeinu Tam, because everyone, it's not. We all have a messed up brain. We all think, it's a Chumer Rabbeinu Tam. No, fakir. The Shulchan Aruch paskins like Rabbeinu Tam, and everyone, the Ganta Shulchan Aruch passes with all the Rishonim. No, 72, which is Rabbeinu Tam, is the din in Shulchan Aruch. Let me just give you one dot of background. Is the din in Shulchan Aruch. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. So now everyone says, 1 second. Shulchan Aruch says Rabbeinu Tam is 72 minutes, so how do I not keep 72 minutes? That makes no sense. So that's what they asked Moshe Feinstein. Moshe Feinstein was mechadesh that of course you're not paskening keneged Rabbeinu Tam. You're paskening keneged Shulchan Aruch. Are you normal? We'll get to in a moment what's going on in Eretz Yisrael. That's what Moshe said. Elamai, Moshe was mechadesh. What does Rabbeinu Tam mean? 72 is not an ironclad number. 72 is a darkness of night. Rabbeinu Tam, where he lived, was pitch black at 72. Zokter Moshe, I went outside Paib in New York, and it was 55 minutes. Is at that level of darkness. So says Ramesha, we are doing Rabbeinu Tam. We're just not doing 72 minutes. That's where Ramosha was mechadish. Now, Agav, in Eretz Yisrael, they're lahadiyah not doing Rabbeinu Tam, because they're going with the Vilna Gaon. And in Eretz Yisrael, the Mekubal was that the Gaon won. The Gaon is Keneged Alo Rishainim. It's not just Rabbeinu Tam. There's like 1,000 Rishainim on his team, if you open the Beis Yosef. And it's the Shulchan Aruch. So how in the world are you passing Keneged Shulchan Aruch? That's just the Vilna Gaon. You're in Yerushalayim, the meaning is like doing so much so, the Rav Elyashiv, so now you'd say, okay, so just be machmir, right? Which of course all the Gedolim did, always. We're machmir for 72. There's once a year that you have a shayla, it's Chanukah. It's on Chanukah.
Even in Eretz Yisrael, there are people that are makbid on 72?
All of the people are makbid on 72. Now, Grada, Ramosha's Chiddush, we'll call it, could be said in Eretz Yisrael also. But it won't be 55 minutes. And that's where all the times in the calendars come from. That's where the Zayin Nekiim is 30, I think it's 35 is the earlier calendar. So, at some level, again, this is like the world's biggest sugya, which I don't want to get to whatever, but that's where the Zayin Nekiim and Rosh Hashanah, they're saying 35 and 40 minutes, they're going similar. It's Yesh Ladin, whether they're going as a Vait Ramosha, that it is Rabbeinu Tam, Yesh Ladin is partially because I don't remember, or whether once in Eretz Yisrael, I'm being honest, once in Yerushalayim we're passing like the Gaon, how far are we going to be machmir till it's called Vadi Leila? It's a little bit complicated, but so much so that Rav Elyashiv on Motzei Shabbos Chanukah is one time you have a clash, because Rav Elyashiv held that according to the Vilna Gaon, one is Leila, 13 and a half minutes after Shkia. Now, if you wait until every Motzei Shabbos, what do? You wait until 72 minutes to make Havdalah, because you can't do Malacha before 72, like the Shulchan Aruch says. The Vilna Gaon, okay, we're going to be machmer, no problem. Comes along Chanukah, now if I wait 72 minutes to light menorah after I do Havdalah, according to the Gaon, you might have missed the mitzvah. Because they learn in the Gaon that the mitzvah is a half hour from the Zman. So if it's half hour from the Zman, half hour from 13 and a half minutes, or...
70 minutes, you're not going with the Gaon, so...
No, but in Yerushalayim, you're doing it l'chumrah. But now it's coming out of Kula. Because now, if I'm going 72 minutes, I'm missing the Gaon for Alakas Neiros. I don't like Kim Menorah that night. So that was the one time a year of Elyashiv would do Malacha before 72. Before 72, at how far? Shikl Shayla, I think he would go with 35. Because if you do the math, 35 is still within 13 and a half, and it's still within 72, and he chab as much as possible. Now, Lemaisa, that's what many people do. All Yerushalmis do that. All Yerushalmis, and that's part of the reason why, they'll daven Meir, they'll say Shema, they'll be doing everything after Shabbos. Not 13 and a half minutes, 35, but it's a little bit earlier in the real Yerushalmi Velt over there. But others don't go so far, and they go, they're machmir like a time, even Yisrael, even from Menorah. Fine. Why is that relevant to us? Because our Moshe's whole chiddush was based on the way he's learning the sugya, and he said 9 minutes required reading Rav Moshe. Now, back to Rav Asher Weiss. This is a chiddush of Rav Moshe that could be relied upon b'makom atzayrich. Now, v'haraya, when we opened up the Heilige, Svarim that are teaching women what to do, what does it say? It says, if it was made after Shkia, it's not valid. Nikuda, end of story. It doesn't. He throws in a footnote, those of Hasidish origin might have leeway, and a shayla should be asked. Meaning, what's I saying? That's what I'm saying. He doesn't even want to leave the window open and say, if it's after Shkia, ask a shayla. Yishladin, I don't know. I can't be medayik the way that he's trying to teach people. You have to first look in the Hebrew book, and then you have to see how he learns. I don't think he's arguing. Meaning, if I would call up Rabbi Martone in Lakewood and I would tell him that a woman did a bedika 2 minutes after Shkia, b'makim atzayrech l'chayr b'meika. Why did I say makim atzayrech? I Rav Moshe because the Meister Rav Shlomo Zalman and Rav Elyashiv and the Chutshani and Rav Moshe Sternbach, they're all machmir, and they say 1 minute after Shkia. Kolta. Now, are they only machmer in Eretz Yisrael, or are they machmer everywhere? Shtikl yesh ladin. Pashtus are machmer everywhere. It's not just only Eretz Yisrael. It's like so it's a little bit complicated because in Eretz Yisrael they go with the Gaon out of Seif. So that's what I'm saying. It's all Ramosha l'shitasei. Because Ramosha was telling us 55 minutes, so he says that what that means is that Shkia is not Shkia. Shkia is going to be really 9 minutes later. 9 minutes later, a famous raid, there used to be Hasidim doing Malacha Erev Shabbos after Shkia. How in the world can you do Malacha after Shkia? The answer is there's another Shkia, Rabbeinu Tam Shkia. When is Rabbeinu Tam Shkia? Shtickle fight. Is Rabbeinu Tam Shkia 13 and a half minutes after our Shkia? Is Rabbeinu Tam Shkia 35 minutes after Shkia. A big fight. What happened? They made a pshar in America. Ramesha with, I don't know, Samar Rebbe, which Rebbe was it?
Yeah,
Samar?
Yeah, I think it was Samar.
I think you write to the tshuva. We're all going to stop at Shkia because we can't have that. Have a Klai Yisrael driving. And after now, by the way, I make mention just because someone told this to me last night. Shkia is real. It's not like, okay, I'll pull up at Shkia and I'll lock the car after Shkia. That's Chil Shabbos. That's Chil Shabbos. And I don't know why it's become that people are like, yeah, Shkia, I think I'll make it by Shkia. It's you wouldn't drive to Shul Shabbos morning. Why are you driving to Shul Friday night? It doesn't really make any difference. I just, I felt I needed to say that because apparently there is such a slight sentiment out there. What?
Real question.
Yeah.
What's a suffix? I know it's like nitty gritty, but
Not suffix.
what's a suffix if it's shia? Is that fine?
Oh, no. It's a very good question. No. That's my next point. No. He's asking a very good question.
You go into
No, I'm going to explain. No.
You come out as 56.
No, what happens is, let me explain to you what happens.
If you don't know where B'dika was,
Yeah.
Watch on you.
Yeah,
you go
no.
in and-
So no, the problem is you. Let me explain to you how it happens. Right. What happens is you go to do a bedika. Shkia's at was it 7? 7:07, right? So you go into the bathroom and you're like, okay, it's 7:02. Givaldik. You go into the bathroom, you use the bathroom, you do the bedika. You're sure you're fine. You look down at your watch and it says 7:08. And then you're like, okay. Then you run to the kitchen and it says 7:07. And then you pull out your phone and it says 7:08. Oh, but wait, maybe because it took me a minute to get to the kitchen. So now I have an emistic asafik, what in the world happened? And this is very common, even though the more of phones and technology and smartwatches and v'chulu is the more that people are going to be accurate, but then again, it's more that people are going to forget. So grada, the eitzah that we give.
Wait, wouldn't that make a difference if Hefsek Tara is the Rabbanon?
Yeah. But again, we have an easier time because we have Ramesha. So even if you're not going to be... Good. It's exactly... Why is it a tzarech?
Because it's already afterwards.
No, but yeah.
Every time it's after it's a tzarech?
I'm saying you wanted to do it on time, but then it was a mistake.
Why is that making it a tzarech? Why is it making it a tzarech?
What is a Torah?
Why is it making it a tzarech?
What is the case for Torah?
So good. So good. No, left after. No, you just went very extreme. No. I disagree. The answer is as follows. The answer is, way Ramesha says it is one thing. The first thing is, this is why I said everyone should look at the tshuva. Ramesha writes, he just says, you could be mekel b'diavad. That's the lashon of Ramesha in one tshuva. In another tshuva, he writes, Ulinian hefsek Torah ma'isa anusa v'lo yichol la'aseh hefsek Torah ad achar shkia. So it sounds a little bit more extreme. L'maisa, so you want to know what's the Mekubal? I'll tell you. Rabbi Force writes that the author was told by Rav Moshe Feinstein's son, Rav David Feinstein, that Rav Moshe generally did not permit a hefsek Torah that was done even a moment after sundown, unless the circumstances required that one be lenient. That's what Rav David said. In the Smichas Chaver notes, which a lot of the Rabbanim were hacking the past few days, he writes that Rav David said Rav Moshe never was saying on it. Now, again, b'mechilas kavod harav Smichas Chaver, someone asked him who he quoted that from. He said Epis Sefer. This sounds more normal. It doesn't really make sense that Rav Moshe never did it. It sounds more normal that he didn't generally do it. Now, this goes into really the whole shmuz in Hilchos Niddah, why sometimes it seems that we're pulling on kulas, like what are we doing? And this is going to be a similar area. That what's called a tzarech is not a defined term. I don't think you have to go as extreme, like you should always be machmer unless it's going to fall out on your chveis. No, I don't think so. Ramesha is mekel. Now, it definitely is the difference between a minute or two after shkia and 8.5 minutes after shkia.
It didn't sound so mekel when you just read the second one.
So you have to see the shyness inside. You have to see the shyness inside. That's why I'm not whatever. The psak mikubal is as follows. That's what I believe Rav Asher Weiss was doing. This is not a kula that should be like on your fridge. It's not a kula for the fridge. It's not like mir la'akim is mutter in this case, or like if you forget to do this. No, it's not. You do a hefsek v'ayishkia. Now, you want to know if you didn't? Yeah, he's a little bit more machmer. I agree. He writes Chassidish Arden. I think not the right way. He's right. But another way to write it would be if it's done a moment after Shkia, a Rav should be asked. I think that's the right way to do it. And usually what's done is to make sure that the woman understands, and this is more Eitzah, she has to understand this is not Beseder. Why? Because a woman calls and says, okay, I did have 3 minutes after Shkia, and the Rav says, oh, no problem, Kol Tov. What you can do next month?
5 minutes after Shkia.
What's you do next month?
8 minutes after Shkia.
Then you're running into serious issues. So that's why. So usually what's done is that the Rav really wants to make sure, first of all, why did this happen? Are you stam an idiot? Part of my French. If you're stam not so smart, so then okay, you have to understand. You have to learn a little bit. We have to educate you. Like, come on, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Now, if the story was she was planning on doing it and this and that and v'chulu v'chulu, then in a chanami there is a makam to be makel.
What you're saying is without a tzar. It's just because you messed up.
That I'm telling you the way that lemaisa it is taken on. That Ramosha is makel, and once there's actually let me say it's not without a tzarich. That was the other aktam that you missed. Is that this goes into in Ganselch's Niddah, why at certain times it seems we're coming onto kulas. And this comes from many Rabbanim and Gedolim's Hashara of the world that we live in, that they feel that specifically Binyani Nidos, there is at some level a necessity to be a little more makel to ensure that there aren't issues. Now this is something that is not a scripted something. We could say names and faces, but it's irrelevant. This is something that's called the hashara of a rav to know his own constituents, which is part of the reason why some people are very upset with all the just ask a random rabbi a question. He doesn't know you, so he could be 100% right or whatever. Who asks a rav? The rav knows this guy, and the rav could say, "No, wait till tomorrow." I could hear it. The Rav could say, Lamaisa. Often it'll be telling how long the person's married. Often it might be telling, things like that. So that's the basic gist of the matter. We're quickly running out of time. So I have over here an asterisk, and I write down the time. Write down the time. That's very important because you're asking how does a suffix happen? No, you said a suffix. How does a suffix happen? Happens is, forget about it. She looked at her watch. She looked at her phone, and she knows it was at 7:17. So she calls up the Rav, and she says to the Rav, I did a Badika 2 minutes after Shkia. The Rav says, what time did you do your Badika? She says, 2 minutes after Shkia. The Rav says, no, what time did you do your Badika? What was 7:16? 7:16. The Rav says, so Shkia was 7:16, so you're okay. Oh, no, it was 7:17. Which one was it? So this is what happens. I'm not. This is nothing to do with whatever. So the answer is you should write it down. You should just write down whenever it's within the time of shkia. Write it down. There's also different shkias. Sometimes I think if you look at my zmanim, you click down. There's an extra shkia in there. It's another way to have a suffix. But
different shkias based on what calendar you're looking at. What do you mean?
Yeah, there's two shkias. There's usually two shkias within a minute of each other. Yeah, it's all. This is the sugya of Zmanim. But anyways, that's why I was pointing out that L'chayr of Asher Weiss was bringing out. This is not a kula that every Joe knows you got to do B'dika till 9 minutes after. Now, I'm not asking a kasha why Smichas Chavar is teaching it, because they're trying to teach a broad spectrum of sugya. But I understand that Rav Asher Weiss is telling a regular person that's working that spent a few hours hearing shir, meaning no Rav in their Shavim shir is going to get up and say, by the way, you do Badika with up until 9 minutes after Shkia, you're okay. That's not something you teach in a Shavim shir. Shavim shir is you do Badika by Shkia. Maybe Rav will say, by the way, if it's not done by Shkia, ask a Shayla. Okay. I think we exhausted this topic. Are we ready to move on?
How does it work? Just he said that Shkia is with the seconds. It gets.
Yeah, 100%.
So do we look at that also when the woman does it exactly at 16? We say how many seconds? Is that done in a second also?
I love how you could.
Is there after Shkia or before Shkia?
If she gets 56 and it still says 56, is that good, or once it's
I'm
70,
saying
Is
this is not a halacha shayla. This is a mitzvah shayla. I'm saying if shkia was 56 and 56 seconds, and if she doesn't know, she doesn't know. If she doesn't know, she doesn't know. Again, you're just creating more sfekas that we're just going to say, okay, mice is a market to be makel. But in a chanami, you want to know lechatchila. Yeah. Lechatchila, a woman, you want to go more nitty gritty. They handle. What if she went in before shkia, but the shkia, the bedika took till after shkia? The badi shulchan right, v'bedika shricha nigmeres kula koydem shkia. Hachama. Tahainu shetachnisenu ba'oimel chur zogen ar kol koydem shkia. The ma'isa comes on the chachani, and he wants to say name. He wants to say as long as she went in before shkia, even if she came out, he says. That's what he says. Now,
the moichel then? The moichel doesn't come out till after.
No, Moich is not a bedika.
It sounds like Moich is a good B'dika.
Of course it is b'diavad. It's better. It's better, of course.
No,
Of course.
but that's after the Zman.
Because you're going in.
It's there the whole time.
It's there the whole time. It was there before. It was there before.
As hell was that hefsek, think about it.
It was there before.
Take it out, it's clean, it's there the whole mishmash, so we prove it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be going into the Zman clean. No, like,
Oh!
You're asking
Explain what you're saying. This is Ramosha says what you just said. Say it again.
you don't take out the hefsek before Shkia, but you just go into the, you have your.
So I just want to speak out what you just said. You just said that the din hefsek before moich is a din that you need to go in. I'm not. Ramosha says the mamish lashon you're saying. Ramosha says that the creation of the moich. Let me read you his lashon. Creation of the moich. You yourself didn't know what you said. Ramosha says that you need to go into the moich with a knowledge of Torah. Then the moich could solidify the entire block of time. But if you didn't go in, so the Zakra Moshe, you do a bedika, then you do the moich.
I mean, right away after the B'dika?
You have to
Yeah.
do the B'dika first.
Yeah, you have. He's saying you have to do bedika first. Now Lemaisa,
Second, so in all these cases, the B'diavad, we do B'dika by, you have to start by Shachar.
yeah,
So, I think you mentioned that day, so is there a point of doing the Mike Dacha?
yeah. Good. So listen, let's get there. Good. The Ilam's dying to moich. You're good. I told you there's a lot over here. Okay, let's get there. Rabbi say.
What's what I read? What's that you read? You kasher for morning. And then
Start
we're
8 hours later.
Okay, so Zok the Rashba. Where are we holding? We're holding out of time. Okay, we'll have to talk more tomorrow. Zok the Rashba. Yeah, let's go into Meich. The Elam's going to Meich. You're bringing up a very good point. The Elam's going to Meich. Let's go into Meich. Zok the Rashba. And we point out, is the Rashba saying like, oh, it's Epis Chasidish Neizach to teach your family? No. When the lashon of the Yelamed B'Teich Beisai is a higher level than whatever. He's explaining you got to go home, hang on the fridge, Moich Dachok, blazing letters. That's what the Rashba is teaching us. Now, we asked in the test, which I just find to be an important nikuda for the world to understand, where does the moich come from? There is no, what's the source of a moich? Right, there's no source of moich in halacha. In Gemara, excuse me. The source of moich is to be mekayim yodeh b'neinei kol b'nei shmar. It's like the Rashba. V'li yakru, ma yakru to be Rashba says b'yiseis.
But you don't even say.
What do you mean?
It was a kasha that's a
Right. Let's go for the Rash. Oh, good. So l'chayra, yesh ladan. I'm going to ask a kasha. It might be a ridiculous question, just something that came to me, and I would like if someone could have an answer. We had a machlekes in the Gemara whether Yodeh b'neinei now. Zok the Gemara, it's not possible to have you. Is it shaykh to have Yodeh b'neinei now? Kol ben hashmashos. Finished. Comes on the Rashba with a earth-shattering chiddush. I figured it out. I could have Yodeh b'neinei now. Kol ben hashmashos. How? Keep the bedika cloth in. Rashba. Rav Yehuda couldn't figure that out. The Rabbanim couldn't verstay. Oh, genius! Just keep the cloth in there. So comes on the Beis Yosef. Rashba, what a beautiful chiddush. Ma yakru divir Rashba. Machaber says Yelamed b'teich beisa. I'm just asking, just in sugya, like what happened? How is the Rashba creating something that the Gemara Alain couldn't figure out, or the Gemara could figure out, and the Gemara felt that it's not a kiyum, or it's not enough of a kiyum, or it's not doing anything more than Hefsek Torah. I don't know what it is, but how could a Rashba create something more than the Gemara? Now, obviously, my question is plain old stupid.
The Gemara knew it.
What do you mean?
The Gemara knew how to do it. The Gemara was asking, are we going to make you do this?
That's the point.
So Hakufa, and the Rashba says name.
No one says the Gemara they have to do it, so what is Rashi?
No, first the Gemara doesn't know. I don't agree with the way you learned the Gemara. It's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara doesn't know. The Gemara says, can you have your tabin and akov and shmashis?
No, it says, are you going to make them? No.
No, I don't believe so. We'll look at the Gemara. But Manashach, either way, he gets kasha. Manashach, whatever the kasha is. So what in the world is the Rashba doing? And then the Beis says it. So again, the question obviously is stupid, and I use the word stupid on purpose because if the Rashba said this is what you do, and the Beis Yosef loves the Rashba, and we're bringing down a Shulchan Aruch, and then everyone's going the Ramah saying at least lechatchila to do it, just stam in sugya something the Olam could come back to. So stam in alach lamaisa, how long do you keep the meich in? No, so I never do a meich. Okay, no tachlis. So the answer is right. So what was that? So the answer is all ben ishmashis. The answer is what's called ben ishmashis. So now you start with, we'll go from greatest to smallest. The Shefa Taira, which is the Kleitzenberger Rebbe, says how long?
90 minutes.
No, 72 minutes. No one says 90. Interesting. Dar sheet is 90, but no one says 90. No one says 90.
Wait, from Shkia till Tzeis?
From Shkia to Tzeis. Says Ramesha, how long is Ramesha going to say? I just told you what Ramesha is going to say. 50 or 55. Shekel Yishlad than what it is. This Juva here says 50, which is what the Al-Sar brings down.
Difference in America and Israel, right?
Yeah, we're talking America right now. We're talking America right now. Comes on the Chazon Ish. What's he going to say? 40 or 35. Comes along other Svarim, they're going to say 30. Comes on Rav Yashiv, he's going to say 20, 25.
In America?
No, they're talking now in Eretz Yisrael. That's why I said Rav Yashiv. Comes along Rishon Zalman, he's going to say 15 to 20. Comes along Rishon Zalman, a different Rishon Zalman is going to say 15. Comes along the Badi Yeshochan and says whatever you hold is Mosei Shabbos. Okay, so basically, how long does the Meich stay in for? Let's just use the words of the Badi. It's a little bit easier. Whatever you hold is Ben Ishmashis. The problem is Lamais, it's irritating, and what do you say? It's supposed to be from Ben Ishmashis until Seis. What does from mean? L'chayra means the moment before. 7:56, 7:55. The moment before until Seis HaKochavim. Until Seis HaKochavim. Until 72 minutes, 72 minutes, 72 minutes, 50 minutes, 30 minutes. Now the Moshe in Yordei Chilibei Siman Tes discusses what happens if it's painful, and he says, "Ein lahachmer benashim shekashel lahen elish yisham aracher ben hashmashel shitas hagoyim do kereva shah, which is how long? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Now, this is where Moshe says if a woman is feeling pain, which many others here don't agree with that. They hold that's nothing because what's 15 minutes? We don't paskin like the going. You're never going to say Shema after 15 minutes, and you're never gonna do Malacha after 15 minutes. But that's where Moshe says L'maisa, and with this we conclude that we're out of time. L'maisa is lechatchila as long as your ben ishmashis is. But it's important to know that there are smaller shitas, meaning often the issue is to keep it in 55 minutes is going to hurt her a lot. Okay, so keep it in for 35, for 30, for 20. That's the way it goes in halacha. It's not all or none. Down to 15. If you can't do that, then okay, then it's going to say, then we're going to have to go into the b'diavad, like the Ramah says, it's only lechatchila. L'maisa, to use a tampon as a moich is shver on two nekudas. Even though the Arsvarim, the Ber Moshe says it's okay, and the Arsvarim that say it's okay, the Article book even quotes it. It's shver because first of all in Sugya, why is that called Churim V'Stakim? Number one, it's stam. The whole Vardan Churim V'Stakim l'chayr is you mamish have to go in. L'chayr tampon's not doing that. Number two is it's shver, which is what Rav Yashiv and they quote it from Rav Heinemann points out. And this is Balabatish. It absorbs. And it's made of material to absorb, so to be hard. Now, Lamaisa, if a woman brings in a tampon, the Rav's going to do his best to open it, and they're going to rip it open and start looking for a dam. But it's not really something. It's not really something to do. Lamaisa, Kala's not going to do a meich. Kala's not going to do a meich, even though there is some zalm that says, yeah, but Lamaisa, Kala's not going to do a meich. There are many that say after birth not to do a meich, if there's pain not to do a meich. But again, this is all in a regular scenario. And we conclude just with a statement that if someone has a flight, even though they're transferring date lines and times, and you're not going to have a full Zayin Nekiim, everything goes by where you are. Now, it doesn't mean you could walk back and forth over the date line. I don't know if what I just said makes sense. Smart people understand that. But it means that when you travel, even though now, if you look at your clock, it's not this full 7 days, Lamaisa, we go by where you are.